This episode of the Beauté by AVIC podcast is brought to you by the Aesthetic and Beauty Industry Council. Hello and welcome to the Beauté by AVIC podcast, your online support community for the aesthetic and beauty industry. Here, we are strengthening and unifying the industry through representation, innovation, and education. This is a platform created and dedicated to the aesthetic and beauty industry, valuing unity and advancement. We serve to represent, support, and inspire you by connecting you with industry experts, expanding your knowledge through educational pieces, and bringing you the latest industry news. This is Beauté by AVIC. I'm your host, Stephanie Miller, and today's guest is Grazina Fechner from Front and Center Training Solutions. Grazina, better known as Griz, is a renowned communication expert both in Australia and internationally. With over 25 years as a facilitator, Grazina has trained people in the pharmaceutical, media, motorsport racing, audiology, sporting, the medical fraternity, and the aesthetics industry. Her key focus areas include client experience, customer service, leadership, sales, behaviour, resilience, and positivity. As a keynote speaker, Griz is rewarded by changing people's lives. Her ability to connect on stage through her energetic, effervescent, and vivacious personality will have you leaving full of life and wanting to embrace each day. Here to discuss workplace culture and how to get your staff ready for 2023, from Front and Center Training Solutions, today we welcome Grazina Fechner. Welcome to the podcast, Grazina. How are you?
Oh my gosh, well, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. It is an amazing, wonderful day outside, and I get to talk to you and the listeners, so bring it on.
Oh, I was really looking forward to having you on the podcast today. I actually know we're going to have so much fun. I always enjoy listening to you speak. You're actually so entertaining and so positive. Grazina, tell me how you get your energy.
You know, I think, Steph, what it all boils down to, and I say this to anyone I speak to, is if you love what you do and you're passionate about it, and you bring out, like, there's fire in your belly and your guts and your gizzards, then no matter what you're doing in that space, it will just exude passion. You know, you'll really feel it. And I think my one tip to everybody is life is so short and work days are so long often that if you're not doing something that you truly love, you're never, ever, ever going to be able, you just can't turn it on. And I think it's that genuineness and authenticity that makes me me. And I say to people all the time, I don't want you to run around and be Griz or Steph or anybody else. I want you to be the you version of you, because that's what people identify with. That's what makes you your brand. And that's why people fall in love with you. So if you're genuine, if you're authentic, if you're passionate about what you do, all the stuff that you see me do comes from that space. You know, it's not put on. I can't just live it 1 minute and turn it off. If anyone sees any of my Instagram, my brand, as you see me on stage, or as you see me on the radio, or as you see me on TV, or as you see me, you know, at home as being a mum, my brand is true to me. And so if you have a brand, if you have the passion, you can do anything you want to do.
Wow, talk about starting the day off with the positive vibe. I love that attitude, you know, authenticity. I mean, we talk about that all the time. And, you know, I think it's this thing about we need to be authentic and we need to be real, but sometimes we try to put on our authentic self and it's not congruent, right, with what we really are inside.
No.
I think you can really tell when someone is speaking from the heart. And before we got on this podcast today, you know, I love what you said. You said, let's just speak from the heart. And you know, I think that's all your vibe is about that. And that's why people love you. You actually also do a lot of work in the beauty and medical aesthetic space, which resonates really well with our audience. They tend to absolutely love you. And you host and present at conferences. You know, how did you become so popular in this arena?
I know, and it's crazy because I'm really not that smart. If I'm being completely honest, like, I'm a real dag. I really am. And I remember when I first got into the arena, I thought, gosh, I don't understand all this intention to treat protocol and inclusion criteria and all these clinical trials. And I didn't understand any of it. What I understood was this industry is so about empowering to be the best version of you. And when I started my company 17 years ago, my thing was just go and find somebody and give them the tools to be the best version of them. So when we look at aesthetics, I think the tools are, no matter whether you find your own little gang in the space, whether you want some nice clear skin because of acne or rosacea, or whether you want, a bit of a lip flip. Well, bring it on. And if it makes you feel the best version of you, then do it. And there are so many brilliant people in this industry who spend so many countless hours and times and days and try to sort people to be the best version of them. Why would no one be part of the game? So I was really fortunate that when I started the company, I got a great opportunity to do some learning and development with Allergan initially, so many, many years ago. And I started to work in this space and thought, gosh, I love it even more. And what I love is coming back from the conferences, and I feel like I've got my little, people call them my disciples, and they're not my disciples, but they're women and blokes, because there's so many cool blokes in the industry as well. And we just all have the same purpose, and we laugh at ourselves and we try things and we just give everything a crack. And you see so many entrepreneurs in this space, and that's what I love, is that people are like, you know what, I can do this, and I've got an environment where people support people. So that's why I love it so much. And I've been doing it for 17 years, and no matter what stage I get onto, it's still really scary, because you're up there and you're fully exposed. But I look down at the crowd and I think, gosh, I've got so many people that are like my raving fans, so I better do them proud. So I've got butterflies every time I do it, but I just make sure the butterflies fly in the right formation, even though I'm as scared as guts.
Oh, really? Are
Yeah.
you still scared to this day?
Oh,
Do you still
absolutely.
get nervous?
Oh, absolutely. And I say to people all the time, having nerves is fantastic, because it means that you care. The minute you don't have nerves about doing something, well, it's like you become complacent and you're not really caring. So when I talk about my nerves, I think, oh my gosh, I'm so excited that people have chosen me. It's an absolute privilege. But that gets me all nervous, because I think I don't want to let anyone down. And I think I'm so glad I've got the nerves, because then I'll do the best I can possibly do, and I won't let people down. So I still practice and I still rehearse and I still bring new content to every single thing I do, because, the audience, we all follow each other around. So I can't just be doing the same stuff all the time, which means that everything I do is new. So it hasn't been done for 10 years. So it's getting up there and doing something new. And it's that vulnerability space. And Brene Brown talks a lot about courage and vulnerability and, that bravery. And I stand up there in front of everybody and I think, God, I'm so vulnerable, because I actually don't know what the outcome's going to be. And that's what vulnerability is when you do something and you don't know what the outcome's going to be. So when I stand up on stage at congresses, or I come to a clinic and talk to people, I'm standing there. I don't know what's going to happen, but God, I'm going to give it my best, and I'm going to be brave and courageous, and I'm going to have the guts to do it.
Oh, you are so inspiring.
Nah, I'm a dag.
I'm feeling fully motivated right now.
Good. Go and inspire the world.
Oh my goodness. Tell us a little bit about your company. Just give us, the quick rundown.
Oh God, that's a really crazy question. It's front and center training solutions, and we literally train people to be the best versions of them, be it in the presentation space, or, be it in negotiation skills. We have police negotiators come in and do proper negotiation scenarios, how to talk to anyone in the whole wide world, how to talk to different types of people, everything from medical. We train metastatic breast cancer, from colorectal cancer. We're currently training the green whistle. So we do a lot of product training as well, but everything goes back to be the best version of you means that you've got to constantly upskill yourself. So in whatever that looks like, we are there to help you, and I talk a lot about be your own wingman. So, training's a one-off event, but it's that coach inside of you that every day, how do I be better? How do I do this differently? When you hang up from a client interaction and you've had a really awful interaction on the telephone, think to yourself, what went wrong and what would I do differently? What question would I ask? What question did I ask that I shouldn't have asked? What question got their back up? So it's really just coaching yourself, and the whole fundamentals of front and center is how to be the best version of you, and it's be your own wingman. Just support yourself and back yourself and give it your all.
Would you say that most of your company, I suppose, encompasses learning how to communicate? Is that a strong theme?
It is, and absolutely. It's the theme of everything. Like, it's the theme of life. The minute you wake up in the morning, you're communicating with your body language. The minute you get out of bed, are you walking to the kitchen all slumped and slouched and cranky that the day's about to start, or are you jumping out of bed and running down the hallway, grabbing your Wheaties, ready to go? That's communication. The minute you go to bed at night, and the last thing you say at night to whoever, or whether you're telling your children a story time, or your tone, inflection, diction, articulation, your power of pause, the way you hold yourself, It's all communication. So every single thing you do is communication.
I love what you said, the power of cause. I think a lot of this discussion right now, and I hope that we get to talk a little bit more about communication throughout, because we're
Yeah.
actually talking about workplace culture, and that is, I think, one of the fundamentals of workplace culture. And how do we communicate with each other? How do we be present within each other? And what's the principles there that we interact? But as I said, it's the topic of our podcast today, and I feel that it's just more than a vibe in your business. It's something deeper, workplace culture. Can you tell us, Grazina, what is workplace culture? Define it for us. And what
Yeah.
aspects does it encompass?
Oh, do you know, everyone says define workplace culture, and it means so many things, but my number one word, and I say it to everyone, it's the heartbeat of your company. Like, it's
Wow.
like you. If you don't have a heartbeat, you don't move, you don't grow, you don't live. Well, if your workplace doesn't have a heartbeat, it's the same. It's dead. So, and no one else, I don't think anywhere in Google mentions that, but it's my little terminology for it all. And yeah, I've got my own little Griz Google, and I make up Griz words, and I've got a Griz dictionary because I speak a lot of stuff that doesn't really exist. But in essence, it's the heartbeat of a company. It's what makes your business unique. It's all about the business values and beliefs and attitudes and behaviors. And it even comes down to dress code. You know, when we walk into a company and we're doing, it might be Fun Friday when you used to go to work, Casual Friday. But as a team, we would always say, we are presenters in that environment. We're still going to wear our business attire, even if it's Casual Friday, because we present better in our business attire. Now, that's part of our culture. It's part of whenever you see a person front and center, you know that they're going to be dressed how the front and center team culture is. You know that their values and the beliefs and they align to some companies and align to some employees and not others. And for some people, workplace culture is the definitive point as to why they want to choose to work with you or not.
That's huge. That is a big
is.
statement. That is, workplace culture is why someone want to choose to work with you. I mean, that's your whole business setup right there. I mean, if you don't have people working for you, if you don't have people that want to stay, what is your business after all? And I suppose that leads into the question, because it's such an all-encompassing topic, right? Why is it so important? You just told us one aspect of why it's so important. Tell us why else.
Yeah, it's the way you roll. Every single day when you open your doors for business, it's about the workplace culture. It retains talent. Now, we know, especially in this industry, how hard it is to come across great people. So why would you then want to have the great people, train them up, and then have them leave? Why wouldn't you want the people to come and feel like it's a privilege that they get to work with you? Now, the only way that's going to happen is if you make them feel a part of the business, if you make them feel important. You know, everyone wants to be made to feel important. So it's all about, your business will be successful if you have a good workplace culture. If you focus on the people, the numbers will come. Now, the whole people part of the workplace is the culture. They should be the ones that define your culture. They should be the ones that are included in decision making. Everything from what are we having to lunch right through to how do we do this business better? Like, how often do we ask our team what they think? We sit in our directors' little offices and assume we know what's going on. But if we start asking people, that's that open communication. And that's the culture that people want to be a part of. And they're like, far out, we're doing this together. We are in this together. So it retains talent. It makes an environment safe for people. And most of all, it's going to reduce your stress. It's going to reduce their stress. People are going to laugh. They're going to engage. They're going to want to come to work. And when they want to come to work, they're going to work hard for you. And that's what will bring the numbers.
I love what you just said. How often do people ask their staff or their team what is best for their business? I have to say, that's all I do. My staff are my bosses.
True.
I always say, you're my boss. You tell me what to do and I help you do it.
Exactly.
And they laugh. They love it.
And they do. They do love it. And that's why people won't want to leave you, Steph. Like, that's the part that matters is, you know, we're no longer in this hierarchical world where there's the boss and the leader and the manager. And the one in all in pitch in is the culture that you create, because your actions speak louder than words, and you do it. You're one in, you're all in, you pitch in. You know, if the boss isn't doing anything and directing teams, well, that becomes your workplace culture. And I say to all of my leaders when I do a lot of leadership training, I say to them, you might want to send an email at 10 o'clock, but do not send it. Leave it in your outbox, because the minute you send that email at 10 o'clock, the expectation is set that someone will read that email, and then your team will be running around responding to it at 10 o'clock. Then they'll be looking at their phones at 10 o'clock in case you've sent an email, and you're creating this culture of whenever off. if you want to write your email at 10 o'clock, boss, do it, but put it in your outbox and send it at a normal time in the morning so that people don't fear that they've always got to be responding at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock. Doesn't matter what hours the boss chooses to work, but it's all that leadership behavior that if you're one in, all in, don't be sending emails in the middle of the night. Don't be sending them at 10 o'clock. And then people feel awful if they didn't see it till the next day and everyone else has gone, oh, did you see that email last night? Did you respond? Well, that's that whole, we want to get away from that workplace culture and just have a one in, all in, and also have a bit of fun.
Absolutely fun. Oh my goodness.
Fun.
I think that's an all important missing element in some places, because we always talk about workplace culture, but I think we should put the word positive in front of that.
Yeah.
Positive workplace culture, right? So
exactly right.
You said fun. That's one characteristic. Tell us, what are the characteristics of a positive workplace culture?
Yeah, number one, as we said at first up, is open, honest communication. Get that bit right and everything else will fall into place. And have the communication that if there's a problem, they're not racing to the top of the tree or the head of HR or doing something. They're going to speak to the person that they're having the problem with, and they're working out how to do it. So it's even giving them really simple ways on, instead of, not conflict management, but conflict resolution. So if you've got a problem with someone in your clinic or in your business or wherever they are, that you know how to talk about that problem in a really fair, calm way. And so it's all of that open, honest communication, but giving people tools, something as simple as situation, behavior, impact. So I might say, oh, Steph, the situation was, we were in the meeting the other day. Your behavior was you just kept looking at your phone, and the impact that had at me was I felt wasn't valued. So instead of just going, oh, Steph, you're on your phone in the meeting the other day, that doesn't help you. But saying, Steph, when we were in that meeting the other day, your behavior was you're on the phone all the time, and I felt like you didn't think that I had value to add in the team. Now, that's a much nicer way of saying it than going, Steph, I hate you because you're on your phone. So if we can give people some really simple tips and tricks and techniques on how to deal conflict, that communication is going to be important. Make people feel valued. Every single day, say thank you to someone. How often do you write an email? And I do it to my team all the time, genuinely. All of the stuff that we talk about now, again, as we said, has to be genuine. But if someone does something, I'll write them an email and just go, thank you for doing that, or flicking them a text, or ringing them, or sending them a bottle of champagne. It doesn't have to be monetary. Just the simple art of picking up that phone and saying thank you makes a massive difference. So positive workplace culture is thank you, open, honest communication, all-inclusive environment, value people, have fun, support each other, provide opportunities. Now, opportunities in a smaller clinic, I get that we don't have lots of people to be able to move and manage teams and be leaders, but an opportunity might be mentoring, or an opportunity might be you training the team. Instead of getting an external person, you come in and talk about the team about skin, or you actually give people opportunities to grow in that space, no matter how big or little it is. So give them training and development where appropriate, and allow people to speak up. If there is a problem, check in with them. We talk about, and coming into the new year, and we'll talk about that a bit later on, I'm sure, but coming into the new year, I sit down with my team and I set my expectations for the team and the business, but then I make my team set their expectations for me. Griz, these are my expectations of you as my leader this year. This is what I need from you. Great. Okay. Because often setting expectations, we as leaders and owners just set them to the team, right? We need to do this, blah, 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 or stop. They're my expectations of you. What are yours of me? Because I need a list too. I need to know how you want me to lead you, manage you, look after you, support you, relate to you, talk to you. Some people need to chat every day. Others don't want to. They're really left alone and chat once a week. So find out the expectations of your team members and then follow through.
My goodness. I needed to write notes and keep up with that. That was like one gem after another. And what really resonated is the way you detached a person from their behavior. So you said your behavior was this, and it caused me to feel this way. You didn't link their behavior, which was looking at the phone, with who they are.
No,
so you didn't say you look at the phone, you always look at the phone, or that gives them the identity that that's the type of person that they are, that they're distracted, that they, that they don't pay attention or don't care. You've removed that stigma from their personality, and you've actually just placed it on a behavior. And behaviors, as we all know, we can change that very easily. It's just something you do. It's not who you are.
That's exactly right. That's right. And that's why that SBI model, situation, behavior, impact. Now, you can also use it, Steph, for the positive. So I might say, the situation was, Steph, we had the meeting the other day. Your behaviour was you sent out emails 5 days beforehand. We had the agenda, and the impact that had was the meeting was the best meeting we've ever had because you took the time to sort everything before it.
The Aesthetic and Beauty Industry Council is Australia's peak industry body, representing the collective professional beauty and aesthetic, salon, clinic and spa community. Created for the industry, by the industry, our council is a collaboration of industry leaders who bring their commitment and specialised skills to raise industry standards, guide regulation and be a strong voice to government. At ABIC, our purpose is to provide an accessible and supportive organisation for the betterment of the professional beauty and aesthetic field, to enhance working practices and promote unity across the various sectors of the industry. ABIC's mission also includes being a trusted source of referral, education and guidance for clients of the beauty and aesthetic profession. ABIC is here to support our members through an extensive offering, including hundreds of valuable resources, HR support and industry expert facilitators to ensure your continued growth and success. Join us today and together let's safeguard the future of the beauty and aesthetic industry. Find us at www.theabic.org.au. At ABIC, we are here for you.
So
you've
again,
flipped it so it's positive as well. So you can do it
positive as well.
Absolutely,
wow. So that you don't just go, Steph, you did a great job. Well, what did Steph do a great job in? How do I know to do that again and replicate that behaviour? If you're actually really specific with the situation, the behaviour of that particular individual in the situation and the impact that had, then people go, oh my God, I know when Griz said, oh my God, Steph's great. She was great during that meeting because she did this, this and this. So then you replicate that behaviour and yay, it happens again. And yay. So it's a really simple way. And you don't say to the person, oh, the situation is, the behaviour is and the impact is, but just in your head. So the situation was the meeting, your behaviour was you did such an unreal job and you brought us great jam and cheese croissants. I don't know, ham and cheese or jam. Ham and cheese or jam and butter, but don't mix them all up.
What about, I thought you were going to say ham and jam together.
Yeah, never heard anyone. Thanks for bringing ham and jam to the meeting. We love your guts. And Steph, it made our bellies full. So, you know, just that simple way of communicating and articulating how you're feeling does it in a really calm manner, and it makes people accountable for their behaviour that they can change. It's not about the person, as you say.
Grazina, can I be one of your disciples?
Oh God, you are the president of my fan club. All of you, everyone, flag, and I'll be yours back. So yeah, there's some of the positive characteristics of workplace culture.
Oh, goodness me. Another thing that I love that you said is get your team to set your expectation of you as a leader. Ask them what they need. Oh, my goodness. It is such a simple question and it is so impactful. It will literally create, I believe, a shift in the dynamic in terms of they then get to have control of how they are managed or treated and can you imagine the satisfaction from an employee if, you know, they said this is how I like to be managed, this is what I need, and you give it to them.
And I mean, how simple is it really? Like, just ask people. And that's what people with questions, you know, don't understand someone that you think you know someone's world and what excites them, delights them, captivates them and motivates them. Until you understand their world, you don't know any of that. So until I understand how my team like me to respond to them individually, I can't possibly be the best leader because I'm not personalizing it.
Yeah, you know, I mean, probably because I've been the leader in most situations, but I've never been asked that question, and I've never heard anybody ask that question.
No, no one
what's
does.
Your expectation of me as a leader? It's one of those gold questions I think we need to keep in our repertoire when we're speaking with our staff, but also, you know, our colleagues. You know, how do you, if you're working with somebody, alongside somebody, I believe if you ask them, how do you work well? How do you want me to give you feedback? They will tell you, and it will be so much more of a great working dynamic.
It's so true. And even when they walk in the morning into clinic, some people love a chat. The minute you walk in, it's like, oh my God, what did you do last night? Did you watch, you know, whatever, love triangle, whatever's going on in your world. Now, some people just need to walk into the clinic and get a coffee and sit and look at their emails before they even talk to you. Now, if every day you are prattling on at them when they come in, they are not going to want to come to work because every morning they know that they're bombarded with people. So if you know that someone likes to work with the first 15 minutes of just quiet time to get them in the groove, give them that space. And they'll enjoy coming into work, going, I'm coming to work, I've got my coffee, my routine, and then I'm happy to talk to Griz. You know, we just need to be mindful that people work differently, people are different, and the more we can accommodate everyone's different styles, the much more harmonious your workplace culture is going to be.
And then it also avoids conflict or awkward feelings because you might be thinking this person just isn't very friendly, when in actual fact, they need that space in the morning to just, collect their thoughts. And they are friendly, they're fine. They're not temperamental, they're just needing that extra little bit of time to be able to center themselves. And I think that once you communicate, a lot of these ambiguities, they go away, and they create that beautiful positive culture. 2022, where the year is starting to come to an end. I can't believe how quickly it's gone. Oh my goodness.
It's crazy.
Yeah, so many companies obviously now, especially that we've come out of COVID, they're starting to organize their end of year parties, and there's a culture going back to celebrating that end of year and that year that was. Why do you think it's so important to bring a close to the year and celebrate what was past, and especially this past year?
Yeah, and it's so important, that celebration, because it has been such a crazy year. We came off the back of COVID, then we had that January, February where COVID had hit again for that Christmas peak, and everyone was so uncertain. And then it came back to busy and crazy and supply and demand, and everyone has just been running like a bull at a gate. So I think as we come to a close, we've got to remind our teams, as part of culture, of the amazing effort they have done. And without the teams, we as clinics do not exist. We don't exist without our team. So I think that we're so busy focused on going quick, we've got to get, now Christmas is coming and now this is happening. But as a leader, write down all of the amazing milestones that happened this year. Did you increase, 500% in skincare? Did you renovate a clinic? Did you have new patients like never before? Did you smash the clinic down the road? Actually, as leaders, go back through the year and every month find a milestone that happened and celebrate it, because people won't remember. And it brings up that what we call the happiness advantage in our brains. And our brains are wired to just focus on negativity and hard stuff. And they won't remember what happened in March. But if something was great in your clinic that happened in March, you need to verbalize that at the end of the year for people to go, far out, high five us, high five me. Like, do the selfie high five on yourself and go, with everything going on, I'll just selfie high five myself because we did that and I'd forgotten. And I think it's really important that we remind them, because it will bring that, what we call dopamine, back into our brains and think, gosh, we worked so hard this year and we didn't have time to stop and smell the roses. But now in March, this happened, and in April, this happened, and in May, oh my God, we did that. Look at what we've done. And as a collective little group of people in our clinic, we can sit back and go, far out, we are a good bunch of people and we can achieve anything. It really just sets a tone, because we've been so busy and we've forgotten to remind ourselves why people fell in love with us. We've forgotten to remind ourselves of all the good stuff that we've gone through, because we're just running to the next thing and to the next thing and the next thing. So 2022, coming to the end of it, sit and as leaders, go back through all the books and everything and find good things that happen and share them and verbalize them.
How impactful would that be?
Unreal.
Even when you were saying that to me, I was like, you said people forget. I've forgotten.
Yeah, we all forget.
I'm like, what happened in March?
Yeah. What happened? Did we attend a conference, or did we do an amazing, spot in a trade display? Did we do the more facials than we've ever done? Did we do the more laser than we've ever? Have we got a new laser? Well, we have got one, and we were happy when it came, and we talked about it for 3 weeks on Instagram, and then we forgot about it because we just got busy again. Well, look at when we got the laser, we didn't even have a patient, and now we've got 500 patients 6 months later. High five us. It's that sort of stuff, that the little things, but I always say sweat the small stuff, because without the small stuff, nothing big happens. And every day you should be able to take away 3 great things that happened in your day. And if you can do that, that's similar to saying, how do we celebrate 2022 on all the cool stuff we've achieved?
I've spoken with a lot of people, coaches in this area, and you are so unique. Everything that you've said today, genuinely, I've heard some things that I've never heard before, which is saying a lot, because I've heard a lot.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Oh, Steph, see, that's cool. Thank you. That's why I do what I do. It's not people say to me, oh, fame and fortune. I've got none of it. What it is Steph saying, I've added value, or I've given her a tip that she hadn't thought about. And that will change your world, which goes back to my ethos and my philosophy is just, give people all that they want, just be kind and give people everything, because with that, they'll take it and make it their own and live the best life ever.
Grazina, I'm trying to extract now all the best of your knowledge, right? So I want to know, what's your secret? how do we set up ourselves for success next year in 2023? How do we absolutely smash 2023?
Yeah, we go in and we think differently. Now, thinking differently, already going to go, oh my God, I can't even think at all. But if
I
you
was
keep
gonna
doing,
say.
yeah, what, I can't do any more thinking. If you just keep doing the same as what you did in 2022 and 2021, you'll have good results because you're getting good results now. But all you need to think about is tweaking differently. And I say to people that you are your competitive advantage. So everyone else has treatments, everyone else has toxins, everyone else has injectables, everyone else has laser, everyone has everything that your clinic has, but no one has you. So you are your competitive advantage. So thinking back to purely, how do you set yourself up individually for 2023? What is your mindset? What do you want to achieve? What are your goals? What are your visions? What are your ambitions? And then go out there and bloody give it a crack. What's the worst thing that can happen is, oh, that didn't work. Well, I pick myself up, I self-coach and be my own wingman on it, and I go and try something different. But if you keep on being you and doing you, you'll get the results. But have you ever really sit down and gone, what can I do differently? And it might be the slightest thing ever. It might be opening half an hour later because of the workforce that come to you. They need appointments at 7 o'clock. So one day a week you offer that. That might be the only change that you make. But setting yourself up for 2023, think if you had that extra half an hour of work population coming through, what a difference that makes. And then they tell their friends and then they tell their friends. So it can be the smallest things that you change that has the most massivest impact. And something you think won't make a difference, well, just give it a go. You know, what can you do differently? And I could spend another 5 hours going through all the little things that you could do differently that will make a massive difference. But it all starts from you having the guts to give it a go.
Because sometimes small shifts end up over time
Yeah.
creating massive impacts, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It might be that you start a newsletter with the clinic to all of the people. Every week you give them a laugh. It might be, you know, how do you make someone smile in a day? And you might send out stuff every week on smiling. It might be something about educational content. And a lot of people do this and then they get bored with it, or they go, I can't be bothered because it takes time.
Yes.
But sometimes you then go, well, maybe I could employ a copywriter for an hour a week to do that stuff. And it keeps my pay. I mean, EDMs, they look at EDMs in business, and EDMs are what keeps people coming back all the time, which are those, you know, little monthly newsletters that you send. It might be when someone comes in, you give them a lollipop. I mean, there's so many different things, but it's thinking back, right? We've survived 2022. If we just go back to 2023 and do the same, then we're the same. Or do we sit down and we actually have a team day with all of the clinic and go, what are we going to do differently? Brainstorm the most ridiculous ideas, and you'll come up with some amazing ones that don't take too much effort and yet will change your lives forever.
And then it's also unlocking that creative part of your brain, because we can be set in the monotony of procedural things in our industry. We're very procedural, right?
We
and
are.
So there's only certain times in the day where you get to pull that creativity out. And one of those times is creating a treatment plan or a treatment journey for somebody, getting excited about what you can do creatively with their skin. But in terms of the procedures and protocols during that, you don't have much creative space. So if you sit down and you're saying, think about what you can do differently, it unlocks this other part of your brain. And I suppose you would get more satisfaction in your job role because you're using a different facet that doesn't get to be worked out that muscle as much.
So much so, but even the creative license of the way you deliver a treatment plan, like how do you use your voice when you say it? Do you get people so excited by it? And everything? Voice is everything. We talk a lot about, you know, what visuals you use, but your voice and your tonality. And if you just say to someone, okay, so the next 12 months you're going to come in and we'll do skincare and then we'll do injectables every 3 months, then you'll come back. Well, that's all, but that's not creative. You can still have the same treatment plan and say, your first skincare, your skin's just going to glisten, and then you're going to come back and have your injectables. And once you've done that, that's just going to plump that bit that you want plumping and flip that lip that needs a bit of flipping. And then you're going to come back and we're going to keep on that skin journey. Come 12 months, I can't wait to see how this plan, just saying stuff like that, saying it differently brings creative license to any treatment plan. You know, showing visuals, using animations with your body language, having the way you sit, even the way you sit. If you sit upright in a chair, your vocal tonality changes dramatically. There's my little Griz.
There you go. That's another Griz
It changes
word.
dramatically, which is like dramatic and exceptionally into dramatically. It changes dramatically. Then sitting down slouching. If you're sitting down slouching, your tone, and I've just changed now my tone, and I sit down and it's much harder to get my tonality through my vocal cords because I'm slouching. The minute I sit up, it changes instantly. So the way you sit is creative license to explain things differently. We talk about body language all the time. How do you look? Do you ever look at yourself in the mirror and see how you are doing the consult and what the patient sees? Do they see a resting bitch face as you're saying something, or do they see someone that's so excited? It's true. You know those people that have those resting bitch faces.
Oh, yes. I know them very well.
Yeah. And the minute you smile, smiles gravitate to other people. And I talk a lot about this on telly and everything when I talk about smiling. But if you're smiling when you're delivering treatment programs, well, a patient's much happier to listen to you smiling than not, because the minute you smile, your voice smiles. And even through a mask, your voice can smile, and even through a mask, your eyes can shine, and smiling's eye contact, and smiling is open body language and all of that stuff. So, we say that even just think about the way you are delivering information in 2023. Is it just robotic, stock standard, I'm going through my script again? Or is it personalized? Is it directed at that particular person in front of you? And is it delivering it in a way that they receive it with this amazing captivation of wanting to do it?
My goodness, I am so inspired. The whole way through this conversation, I have just been buzzing, thinking so many things. I hope our listeners, and I know our listeners, are going to be feeling the exact same way. And I bet you our listeners also picked up on something that you said, which was incredible. And I think I'm going to write this up on my wall. Be your own wingman. Hold on. This concept right here, right? Most of the time, we're our own worst critic.
We are.
We're never our own wingman. How do we do this? This is revolutionary.
It is, and it's like
high-fiving ourselves.
High-fiving ourselves down. It's true. And be your own wingman. And we don't it's crazy. And people say to me all the time is, what does that mean? And I say to people, it's just you being sure of yourself. So, for example, if I'm about to go onto stage and do something, I'll look in the mirror. I cannot believe I'm sharing this tip with you, because I'll look in the mirror and I go, Griz, you are mighty fine damn hot today, aren't you? Look at you. You are like on fire. People are going to love it. It's so dumb. And it makes and it's not through arrogance. I'm the most unarrogant person in the world, but it's what gets me going. I'm like my little wingman, like your wingman next to me going, Griz, my friend, oh, you look fantastic. Go out there, my friend's not in front of me. I'm about to walk on stage with 500 people who are all doctors and very fancy and smart. And then Bogan Griz walks out. But I say to myself in the mirror, you've got it. Or even if I'm driving in the car, I'm like, they are so going to love you. The content you've got's unreal. They're going to laugh. They're going to learn. They're going to play categories with scratchies, with categories, with Griz. So I go through all of my stuff. But I talk myself up, and it's like my little wingman is on my shoulder. And then at the end of it, I will then say to my wingman, all right, Griz, what would you do differently next time? What worked really well that you do again? I've got some great sheets of paper, and I'm happy to send through the questions I always ask myself. So I'll hang up from this podcast today and I'll go, what would I do differently next time? What worked really well? What else would I have said that I didn't say? What shouldn't I have said that I did? So I'll go through it all, so that then the next time I do something, I've already told myself what I need to do differently next time to be even better, or what I need to do the same because it worked really well. So be your own wingman is just self-talking to yourself in your own daggy way and going, we've got this, Griz. We've got this. We're all over it. Yeah.
And
I love
all of this, everything that you're saying right now, that all sort of falls under the umbrella of workplace culture, because if you are motivating yourself, if you're your own wingman, if you're doing these things for yourself, you're doing them for your team, that is, you said it's the heartbeat. That's literally what it is. It's the essence. It's the core, right?
Yeah. And it's teaching your team to be accountable for their own behavior. So it's teaching them to be their own wingman. And we do a lot of training on it. And especially if we do a lot of training in sales calls, and I'll walk out and I'll say, what would you do differently in that sales call? Well, I as a coach can't be there every single day. So the only person that's there all the time is them. And what's interesting is your brain. I say to people, and this is probably the most pivotal thing with the heartbeat, is talk to yourself like you talk to someone you love. How often do we talk to ourselves like we talk to people that we love? And we don't. We always, as you said before a few moments ago, Steph, you said, we're down on ourselves and we criticize ourselves, and we do. But think about the person that you love the most. How do you speak to them? And why don't you speak to yourself like that? Because your brain hears you 24/7. It hears you more than anybody else in the whole wide world. And yet all we do is talk to ourselves, not like we talk to someone we love. So my biggest thing is, just talk to yourself like you would someone you love, and your brain will start going, this girl loves me. I'm going to do right by her. I'm going to help her. I'm going to look after her. I'm going to teach her. I'm going to love her, all that stuff.
This topic is so encompassing of so many things. And it's not just, when we're talking about this, we think, oh, right, workplace culture, it influences finances, or it influences staff retention, but really it influences every single part of your business and your life balance, everything. Now, considering the gravity and the enormity of it all, what responsibility do you actually think we have as leaders to get this right?
We have to take ownership of workplace. We've got to take ownership of the heartbeat. You are the biggest heart. You're like the heart starting machines in the hospital when people's hearts.
Yes.
You are that blood. You're like going to electrocute them and get them cracked. Like, without you starting someone's heart, without you having fire in your belly. And the responsibility as leaders is you must lead properly. So if you want to be on your phone, and I don't know why I keep using phone as a meeting thing, but if you want to be on your phone in the meetings, then expect that your team should be allowed to be on their phones during the meetings when you're speaking, because you're demonstrating that behavior is okay. Anything you as a leader do and anything you as a leader demonstrate is okay for the rest of the team. So if you swear and if you're rude and you're obnoxious and you're everything, then your team have every right to be doing the same. So the responsibility we have as leaders is to be the heart starter of the heartbeat and follow through on everything every day. And that's why leading is so hard. And leading humans is really hard, because they're all the people's heartbeats and they're all got their own world dramas going on. And if you come to work and you just have unrealistic expectations, if you come to work and you don't personalize every interaction with people, you won't ever be a great leader. So people want to work for someone that is a great leader, and being the heart starter of all the team, having open communication is our responsibility as leaders. When things go wrong, it's our responsibility to communicate openly and honestly. If things are going bad, the quicker you communicate that and they hear from somebody else or they find out from someone else, that just shows that you don't have the guts to do it yourself. So if you have this open door policy and open communication, responsible leadership will then be simple, because everyone will be knowing what everyone's doing. Don't allow, bad talk in the office. But allow fun. So our responsibility as a leader, in essence, with one sentence, is lead people how you want to be a led person. So treat others how you want to treat them. And what's interesting about that is police negotiation always talks about treat others how they want to be treated, but people sometimes want to be treated differently. It's that personalizing of the way I treat Steph might be different leadership style to the way I need to treat Nicole, which is different to the way I need to treat Sally, which is different to the way I need to treat Tim. But if you can work that out from a leadership capability, everyone will feel like they're being led by the very best person, because you're changing your style of leadership to suit them.
Grazina, what an insightful and eye-opening conversation. Honestly, it's been an absolute pleasure having you. You are a delight.
God, I love you. Just keep saying that. We've got another 7 hours. Just keep rolling back that comment. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. And such a wonderful learning experience today, and fun more than anything, like learning whilst you're having fun. That's the best thing. You're firing off your synapses. The information is literally getting into your brain in a much more impactful way when you deliver it with style and fun and funniness. So I thank you so much for doing that for us today. And thank you for being with us and inspiring us.
Oh, Steph, it's an absolute privilege. As I say, I'm so lucky that you chose me, and you chose me. You've got 1 million people that can come on your podcast. So the fact that you reached out and chose me, for me, it's humbling, and it means that I can share all I can so that people can be the very best version of you. And having you as a host, high five us. We should just start our own podcast on anything. We can talk about pet rocks or what people want for Christmas. We can start anything.
Oh,
but
we can talk about rocks.
Humor.
Just the good type of rocks.
Yeah, let's talk about diamonds or a girl's best friend, all that other stuff. But it's true. Like, if you can influence through fun, children laugh about 437 times a day, and adults know more than about 15. And we've forgotten how to laugh because life has become so nutso. So, I would say that as a final sign off, don't underestimate the importance. Don't be afraid to be funny, ... and don't be afraid not to. And tell jokes along the way. What has no legs but can run? A tap. Over and out.
Well, we are signing off with Grazina and her number one disciple now. Thank you, everyone, for listening today.
Thanks for coming. See ya.
You've reached the end of another episode of the Beauté by ABIC podcast, your online support community for the aesthetic and beauty industry. Thank you for listening, and until next time, stay connected.